I'm Erin from Girl Catch Fire. We help women in midlife get unstuck and on purpose at midlife. We do this little gathering every Monday morning because honestly, it's a good idea to put your focus in a certain place and try to keep it there for the week instead of being all over the place. I'm trying to help you guys stay in the center of yourselves. That's the purpose of this little gathering. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Also, I realized this morning that one of the things that we're really after is just inspiring and encouraging people to do interesting things with their lives, particularly the second half of their lives. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today and what that requires. Like what's actually needed, especially in times that we're in right now. And maybe this is no secret if you've been watching for a little bit, but I mean, this has been a tough couple months. And I'm not going to go into all the reasons why. You know all the reasons why it's been tough. Stock market losing $5 trillion of value last week, stuff like that. I mean, it's scary. And we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how it's all going to turn out. And so, what I want to talk to you guys today about is focus. I want to help you get your focus back to the things that it needs to be focused or places that it needs to be pointed at. And it's funny, I was speaking in an event yesterday and I heard this come out of my mouth as I was talking to these people. I said, okay, so what now what? Which is something we say a lot around here at Girl Catch Fire. So what now what? Like, okay, this did happen. This is happening. This is the hand we got dealt. How do we want to play it? And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because for me, I know that it can be really difficult when things feel chaotic, uncertain, ridiculous, infuriating, or whatever, to just pull back and shove it into neutral. And honestly, what a bummer that is, because you have art to create, you have a story to write, you have people to help, you have a community to engage, you have all kinds of stuff that you might want to be doing in the second half of your life, and inertia isn't where it's at. Neutral isn't where that's going to happen. So let's talk a little bit about second mountain theory. It's something I talk about around here an awful lot, but it's based on an idea by a guy named David Brooks, who wrote a book called The Second Mountain. But it explains midlife really well. Like in the first half of your life, you are quite necessarily spending your time on your container, your construct, who you are in the world, where you stand, your family, your education, your children, your career. All of that makes perfect sense. That's what we should be doing in the first half of our lives, right? And it is typically driven by the ego. And I don't mean that in a negative way, just it's an ego project, okay? Then midlife hits and things all kind of break or fall apart or go wrong, or everything suddenly feels impossible and whatever. And we call that the valley. I call that the valley between the two mountains. But what a lot of people don't know is there's that second mountain. So if the first one is about your container, the second mountain is about your contents. Like, what do you want from the second half of your life? And honestly, when people don't know that the second half of life has a completely different purpose than the first half of life, very often they just try to keep repeating what they've done and can't figure out why it doesn't work. So around here, we really encourage people to really think about, okay, if your first mountain is about the container, your second mountain is about the contents. What is inside that container? What's your purpose? What's your desire? What's true now? And it might be different. And who do you want to take along with you? That's the art of the second mountain. And that's what we spend a lot of our time talking about here. So I ask the question again, like one of my purposes is to inspire and encourage you to do interesting things with the second half of your life. Well, what? Do you think about it? Have you thought about it? Probably. Like, oh, what's the purpose of my life? Sometimes it's easier to ask a different question. What does on purpose look like for me in the next 12 months of my life in my physical health? That's a better question, a little easier to answer. What does on purpose look like for me in my career in the next 12 months? What does on purpose look like for me in my relationships in the next 12 months? Okay, so if you don't have any idea or you're feeling lost, start there. And then you got to focus on it. And this is what the world is trying to distract us from, trying to keep us off balance and unfocused and stuck in neutral and all those kind of things. And I'm saying to you, you don't have to do it like that. So if one path when things are sketchy is just to pull back, shove it in neutral, and then the other path is to go full steam ahead and pretend like it's not happening, I would submit to you there's a third way. And I think that this might work better. Like the third way is to refocus and recommit on what it is you want to do with your life, particularly the second half of your life for the next 12 to 18 months. You may or may not get to do it. I don't know. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the effort and energy and the intention that you want to set for doing things that are interesting and meaningful to you in the next 12 months. Don't let anybody take that from you. You can keep that right here. You can keep that nice and close to the chest and recommit to it and refocus on it. And as you're setting your focus, you can work on your identity. Who do I have to be to accomplish those things? And then build habits around it. I think this is how the work gets done, guys. I wish there was a different, easier way, but there's not. One strategy I taught a couple weeks ago that I just want to remind you of is the difference between your circle of concern and your circle of control. Okay, so imagine you have a big circle and there's all the things that you're concerned about. All of them. Polar bears, measles, the economy, the whatever, your feet hurt, plantar whatever, like all these things that you might be concerned about. Okay, that's in an outer band. And in a center band, there's your circle of influence. What can you influence with regard to those things? Well, maybe you can vote, or you can protest, or you can write letters, or you can whatever. There's a million things you can do, but you can't really control these things. You can influence them. Same thing with your kids. Pick an example, right? But then there's that inner circle of the things that you can control. And it's really about three things. It's the smallest circle and the most important one: your mind, your mouth, and your habits. And so this is what I'm talking about. If we don't want to just pull it into neutral and tuck in and wait and just abandon all the things that are important to us because life feels risky, that's one way. Or to just go full steam ahead and just act like everything's normal, maybe that doesn't feel so great either. But what's the middle? I would submit to you that the middle is to get hyper focused on what you are doing in your habits and your focus. Okay? So here's what I'm gonna help you do. How do I focus on that stuff? So here's an example. This is a dumb example. Yesterday I was talking to a friend about this very channel. Like, I want to do YouTube and I want to do it better and I'm still figuring it out and whatever. And she was giving me some suggestions, and I was, for people that could help or watching videos and that kind of thing. And I said, yeah, but who's got time for all that? And then I just realized that came out of my mouth, and I was like, oh, that's a bunch of nonsense. That's such nonsense. And I know it. And I, like you, waste time on all kinds of stuff that doesn't matter. And that's a little bit of pulling into neutral. You start wasting your precious time. Well, I don't want to get to the end of my life not having done the things that are burning inside of me to do. I don't want to have missed stuff because I was just stuck in neutral. Okay, so maybe instead what I can do is quit lying to myself about how much time I have to do the things that I want to do. So that afternoon, just to make a point to myself, I just watched a few how to do YouTube really well videos. So, all right, we'll give that a shot. Just learning, not everything, but just some things, right? Okay, so that's one thing. Let's start there. Your habits. Your habits. Think about your habits. Are the habits that you have likely to create the outcomes that you want in this interesting, inspiring life that you're living? Just do a little inventory. Okay, well, maybe most people have a scrolling habit that takes up 2 to 3 hours of the day. Not all at one time, maybe, but over time, over a 24-hour period, it does. Look at your tracker on your phone. Look at how much time you're spending there. Maybe you could commandeer half of that time and put it towards something that you actually care about and like. All right, so that's one habit that you can build that helps you focus on the things that are important to you. Like, get hyper focused. Now, this is not to the exclusion of the other people around you in your life. Remember, one of the things that you might be working on is your relationships or your community. Of course, you're going to go spend some time with people in the world. But again, what are the things that you are working on? So for me, for the next 12 to 18 months, what on purpose looks like for me is my physical wellness, the book that I'm writing, and my business. So after I got home from speaking at that conference yesterday, I was like, I am going to sit here and think about all of the things that I would actually write down, all of the things that I can think of right now to advance those goals for the next 12 to 18 months. Around here, we call those stars and we call the goals moons. Okay, so I'm like, I could do this and I could do this. And with regard to my body, I could do this. And with regard to my business, I could do this. And immediately I'm out of neutral. I'm back in first gear. And you can do the same thing, but it requires that you be focused on you and not focused on everything else that's going on in the world. I'm not saying ignore it, but I am saying don't let it take you down. Don't let it sneak up on you and start to make you play small in your own life, because after all, we only get one of these. This is no dress rehearsal, right? You only get one of these, and I do not want to get to the end of my life regretting that I didn't do things because I was afraid of things that were way outside of my control, way out in that outer band, right? So what can you control today? Well, in that tiny little inner circle, it's your mind, your mouth, and your habits. So mind and mouth, we can talk about that on a different day, but we really are talking about habits today. So do me a favor this week and spend a little bit of time thinking about, okay, what is it? What are those 1 or 2 or 3 things that I want to accomplish in my life over the next 12 to 18 months? I want to feel purposeful. And again, it doesn't have to be like something anybody else thinks is important. No, it's something that's important to you. What are those things? And then what's everything you can think of that you have to do to advance that vision? And then how do your habits line up with that? Are they helpful? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So that's what I want you guys to work on today. Take the focus away from all of the chaos long enough to put it on like your own life, what you are creating with your own life. Because guess what? This is going to continue no matter what. So let's go ahead and do what needs to be done, and not to the exclusion of the people you love around you or the people in your community, not that, but enough time focused on the things that you are trying to create with your own life and building the habits around them. I hope that helps you. Have a great day.